Today I am making this online session discussion on the vehicular pollution that we are experiencing here in India today. The various places of the nation is suffering from the air pollution problem, where the source are important, and among them the vehicular pollution is one of the main source, together with the industrial as well as the domestic sources of air pollution. And the vehicular pollution, actually, by law there are certain acts are there, laws are there, and compliances with the laws are one of the important point. Now, uh, in case of the all the various types of air pollution, we find the Air Act, that is in 1981, Air Protection Control of Pollution Act in 1981 is the one. And in case of vehicular pollution, we find that there are two laws are there. One is the Motor Vehicle Act and other one is the Environment Protection Act. The Motor Vehicle Act was passed in the year 1988 and Environmental Protection Act was passed in the year 1986. So these are the two laws together with the Air Act. So we must be thinking that if the laws are there, then why we are still facing the problem of air pollution, isn't it? Now, in the process of working of those laws, there are certain points which are important. So first of all, let us know what those laws actually tells us. So first of all, the Motor Vehicle Act, which was passed in the year 1988. So under that act, there is the certification of PUC, means certificate for pollution under control. So every vehicle which runs on the roads of Indian cities are supposed to have the certificate of PUC, pollution under control, which is mandatory for all vehicles and under which regular testing needs to be done, whether the machinery is emitting how much of pollutants into the environment. That regular testing needs to be there. Then penalties are there if the motor or the vehicle is passing some more amount of permissible gases or pollutants into the air, then certain penalties are there, means certain punishments are there, fines would be there. And if the vehicle is like crossing those limits, then it is supposed to be means it cannot run on the roads. So the penalties are there, and non-compliance of those penalties would be means kind of cases would be filed, registered. So that was the Motor Vehicle Act. So we must be thinking that if the laws are there, why still there is air pollution, and to such a limit that people are facing various kinds of diseases. The basic our right to have the fresh air is not there today. Why such situation has arisen? So let us know about the other acts also, then we will discuss why and how those management of air pollution has not become a success today. The other act is the Environment Protection Act in the year 1986. So this was set up by the constitution, and standard for pollution emission, means various vehicles would be emitting certain amount of toxic gases. So the standards are made under the Environment Protection Act for new vehicles as well as existing vehicles, because we must be knowing that earlier times the vehicle's engine used to be different, The fuel was also different, and is today's time the vehicle motors, the engines have changed, so the amount of air pollution release would also be different. So the Environment Protection Act, it sets off those limits, the cutoff marks. And but still we face so much of air pollution, vehicular pollution. So under the Air Protection Control Act 1981, the Air Act was made in the year 1981, and the aim of this law was to prevent and control air pollution by establishing CPCB and SPCB. Means CPCB means the Central Pollution Control Board, and SPCB means the State Pollution Control Board. So if you can see, this is the map of India. So all the various states of the country has a SPCB, State Pollution Control Board, and above the SPCB, the CPCB means Central Pollution Control Board, that is there. So it is the function, it is a duty of these two bodies, that is SPCB and CPCB, to manage it. So there are certain functions such as set air quality standards. Second, regulate air quality index, how much of pollutant or gases, various toxic gases are there in the air. Regulate industrial emission, and then enforce measures to improve air quality across urban and rural, industrial as well as non-industrial areas. So the SPCB and CPCB are actually supposed to manage it. They have the power, they are actually empowered to set various emission in order to monitor air quality and advise the government on control measures. So they are supposed to advise the government in case of some sources which is going like crossing the limits. So they are supposed to tell the government if the present situation has arisen that the permissible limits have increased. So somewhere in the past, all these years, the work has not taken place properly. That is why we are suffering today. Today's generation, today's children, they are suffering because of that reason. So we can very well ask why the CPCB and SPCB have not enforced appropriate measures to control air pollution. Why those departments have not taken their duty seriously. We can very well ask the various states of India. We can ask the State Pollution Control Board that why did not they enforce measures in order to control air pollution. What have they been doing? Have they done their works properly, or somebody has restricted? Why the vehicular pollution and the industrial pollution also? Those have exceeded the limits, and air pollution is one such problem or issue that air actually travels various parts from one place to another place. So if you can see the map over, let me show you that if pollution has arisen in one place, then it will travel to various other place across the boundary also. So this is the world map. Here also you can see that pollution, air pollution can rise at one place and then it can travel the whole world, the whole atmosphere. So there may be cities and places where the residents or the vehicles may not have emitted the pollutants, may not have the industries or vehicles, then also they are suffering. Why? Because air has traveled, the pollutants have traveled to various places. From one place it will rise and then it will affect the whole atmosphere of the whole world, the whole Earth's atmosphere will be polluted, affected. There are some messages, PLS. I did not understand your message. Please tell me in detail. I am discussing about the vehicular pollution, which is taking its toll. People are suffering so much. So one such reason of the pollutants, that when the pollutants they arise, they move to various places. So from one source it will rise, and then it will travel to various places, and the removal of those pollutants is very difficult. With rain, the dust particles would be falling down, you know. Rain will not remove the poisonous gases. This is a very important point. And today, if the pollution problem of air pollution has risen to such a limit, it is because the pollutants from earlier times have remained in the air all these decades. We have traveled, our parents, our grandparents, they have experienced. So all those pollutants, it is remaining in the air. That is a problem. And the measures are also becoming limited unless and until people really have to be serious about their environment and think and ask all these issues. People have to keep on asking, no. So vehicular pollution is just one of the sources of air pollution. Is then the vehicular pollution, there is the major like the industrial pollutant, domestic ones, because the construction and building construction materials also, they also emit a lot of pollutants. So indoor air pollution is also one of the reason. And then agricultural pollutants, because agriculture actually, when it is on large scale and they burn the stubble, then of course the pollutants would rise and travel to various places, not just that particular place. So of course that is also one of the sources of air pollution. And the nature of air pollution, like I said, that it remains in the air, it will not go to like subsided, it will remain. And measures have to, newer measures, control measures and newer technology have to be involved. That is the point. And whom to ask those questions, and whom to like manage, who is going to manage, then at the general, each and every individual, we are supposed, like, let me give you one example how I do my duty. That I know that garbage burning which happens in my neighborhood, burning of plastics and rubber, yeah, takes place. So every time I see that, I go and ask them about the to restrict it, not to burn the plastics, because that emits a lot of poisonous gases, and that would harm my health as well as their health seriously, in like creating diseases also. If somebody has inhaled a lot of pollutant gases, then of course his or her health would be seriously affected. So at every individual level, we can very well do certain steps. And at the different government bodies, so the SPCB and CPCB are actually supposed to take that responsibility. If they have not taken, or things are going above their hands, above their limits, then they should mention it. They should mention to everybody, so that people become aware that something is really happening out of the control. The government bodies are not able to manage that. What is the reason, what could be the solution? So they should mention that it has become out of their limits. They should mention it. Otherwise they are supposed to manage this SPCB and CPCB. Government, we can ask that why this government or that government have are unable, but actually there are certain bodies, not everybody we can go and ask. We have to ask the actual person why you are not able to do. Pollution Control Board, what have they been doing all these days, all these years? So that question should be there. And in these laws, actually, the sources of air pollution, like the vehicular pollution or industrial pollution, the limits are being mentioned. How much emission they can do, emission standards are being made by the various laws. The Motor Vehicle Act, Environment Protection Act, the Air Pollution and Control Act, all those laws have done about industrial pollution and vehicular pollution, and that is how the certificates have come. But what about the building and construction pollution? How can we measure that? Those standards have not been made. In case of indoor air pollution also, I have seen actually certain research project in which the researcher would go and travel to various household, and then measure the amount of carbon monoxide being produced inside the home, inside the, like the indoor air pollution. So that is how it is being made, but the standards have not come. How much of carbon monoxide or how much of indoor air pollution could be made? Those, in case of indoor air pollution, the limits are, permissible limits are not made. And in case of garbage burning also, the penalties have not been. Everybody is burning garbage in the environment. Nobody, no such penalties have come. Why? Stubble and agricultural burning also. Why those standards have not come? How much stubble they can burn at a time? Those limits should be there, just like the Vehicular Pollution Control Act, vehicular pollution sources, the industrial pollution sources. So similarly, more standards should come, more permissible limits should come, such as the building and construction material, indoor air pollution, then burning of garbage, and agricultural waste burning. All these four standards, emission, the limits should be made. So this till now has not been made, as per I have known, I have seen, I have understood. So you all can also think about, because it is our basic duty, everybody is involved, everybody is affected by air pollution. Then two more points that I want to mention, but not today because it will go quite long. One is that of in case of management, actually the residual time of various pollutant, because not all the pollutants are toxic level, some are very dangerous. So the residual time and the toxicity of the material, of the pollutant, that I want to discuss. And yes, till now this much came to my mind and I have discussed. So please mention if some suggestion are there, because it is a duty of every human being to think about the present situation, the present problems. It is my health as well as my future generation also. Thank you.